For some people this year, their family Christmas will be ruined. They will go to unwrap a case-sized present only to realise it is in fact a black hole which will devour hours and hours and hours of their time. This will lead to loved ones correctly claiming that you love the game more than you do them. Which is sort of true. Yes, Civilization 6 will be under some people's Christmas trees this year. Yes, Civilization 6 can be seriously addictive, but for new players, it can also be difficult to figure out who to play as and where to start. Today, for anybody who has yet to get properly into Civ 6 on consoles since it released last month, or for anybody who is going to get burdened with this game under the Christmas tree, I'm going to talk about why it's good for new players to play as Rome and why it helped me so much. Before we go any further, I'm not definitely saying Rome is the best civilization in the game. It almost certainly isn't, but this is just how I learnt the basics and a civilization I found really interesting and useful when I first started playing the game. If you do want to see more videos like this, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe, and let's jump in and talk about why Rome was so good for me as a new player. So to understand why Rome is such a good civilization for new players, I think it's important that we look at Rome's bonuses so we actually know what the civilization is all about. So, Rome and their leader's bonus is, or one of them, is Trajan's Column. This means that every new city you found starts with a building, which very usefully tends to be a monument in the ancient era. Now, this is really good because I think monuments are very nice for new players. So what do monuments give you? So, in the base game, which is how I'd recommend new players start before you have to get your head around all the mechanics of Rise and Fall and Gathering Storm, in the base game, the monument will give you an additional 2 culture in your city. If you install Rise and Fall, this changes to +1 loyalty and +1 culture. So why is it nice that this bonus is probably gonna give you a monument in every city? Well, because in Civilization 6, which is completely different to probably Civilization Revolution, which a lot of console players will have come from, culture is so important to advance down the civics tree. To advance down the civics tree, you need culture, and the civics tree gives you lots of cool bonuses, lots of cool government types, policy types, just things you need to make your civilization successful. Now, when I first started playing this game, I sort of neglected monuments and neglected culture, and that means you can actually start falling behind in the civics tree, which is really important. So, yeah, having a monument built pre-built for you in your city as completely free is a really nice bonus. Another one of Rome's bonuses is that all roads lead to Rome, which means that all cities that are founded or conquered start with a trading post. Cities in trading range of your capital get roads straight away, and this basically makes it easier for you to send your troops where they are needed most. And for every one of your cities that your trader passes through with the trading post bonus they get, you obviously get +1 gold. This basically means that you get more gold per turn for having traders go through your cities, and that you can move things around your empire quickly. I mean, it's nothing major, it's not going to change the game for new players, but obviously, it's just a nice little bonus. Unique unit-wise, Rome gets the Roman Legion, which is a replacement for the Swordsman. This is one of my favourite units in the game. It might not be one of the absolute strongest units in the game, but it's definitely one of my favourite ones. So this Legion gets a melee strength of 40, which is 4 stronger than the Swordsman, and it does not require iron to be built, especially in the base game. You do not need that strategic resource to build this, which is just brilliant, because if you're just playing the base game, for example, then this is just makes life so much easier. You don't have to find a bit of iron, you can just build them and spam them out, which is just, honestly, so useful and so fun. So another thing that the Legion does is it gives 1 build charge to build Roman forts. They're good to play around with, honestly. Obviously a fort is a good defensive position, or you can actually build roads with the Legion, and you can also repair pillaged improvements too. So it's like a little builder in the Legion as well, which is really cool. But do remember that the Legion only has 1 build charge, so you can only use it to repair or build a fort once. So why is this unit so useful? Well, in my opinion, it teaches the value of a unique unit. When you go attacking people with this, you're gonna think it's a brilliant unit, and it really does teach the value that no matter who you're playing as on this game, you've got to use their unique unit, you've got to make use of it. And I'm sure many of you are from Civ Rev, so you're probably actually not used to these sort of things, so it does teach you that using your unique unit is absolutely invaluable. Rome's unique building is the bath, which replaces the aqueduct. Now, this, for me, I think I've seen a lot of people sort of undervalue the bath and just how useful it is, especially for people who are just getting used to the game. I will talk about it a bit more later on in the video, but just so you know, it gives additional housing and an additional amenity. Both of those things, as I'll go on a bit later, are very useful. And yeah, I think it's a really useful new building, but I will talk about that in a second. So now we have gone over all of those bonuses, let's talk about 3 specific reasons on why I think Rome is so good. Obviously we'll talk about the units and stuff as we go along as well. So the first big point on why I think Rome is so good, considering all the bonuses, is that it actually makes you learn how to battle. Now Rome is a domination victory based civ. I mean, if you think about what the Romans did, a lot of it involved swords and stuff, so you know, it's unsurprising you're going to have to be aggressive with this civ. Now, for me, this is so useful for new players because you have to get comfortable with combat. And you've got to start to learn about how many troops you're probably going to need to start a war. How many troops you're going to need to start to take a city. And also, not just that, you need to learn about what units you're going to need to take a city. Like, you can't just use legions. A lot of the time, you're going to need siege units if the city's got walls, so obviously battering rams, and ranged units like archers. And I think that for new players, just having the freedom early game to go and attack other civilizations using your unique unit as well is an absolutely brilliant way to sort of give you an introduction into using armies in this game. Obviously the skills and knowledge you'll learn from doing this is useful in a domination victory style game, but don't ever write off using military means for any types of victory. For example, maybe you want to go for a science victory. You know, maybe you need more cities to get more science. Using your military is always going to be useful, and you're always going to need to know how to use it. Don't forget as well that, and I mean, if a lot of you have played Civilization Revolution with the incredibly stupid and aggressive AI, you'll know that other civilizations often declare war on you in these games, so knowing how to attack and defend using armies is absolutely vital for no matter what victory you want to achieve. Moving back to the discussion of the bath and the housing and amenities now, the second biggest thing, or what the second of the biggest things I think Rome is useful for, is just helping new players out a little bit, because when I first came to Civilization 6, housing and amenities, they were the 2 things which challenged me the most. Keeping your people housed, keeping your cities growing, and also keeping your people happy and not revolting can be really difficult. So the fact that the bath gives both housing and an amenity, that actually will really help you out. It just sort of gives new players a bit more leeway in these difficult fields, and while you're learning everything else, it's just nice to have, you know, a bit of help along the way. So I think a bath is really good, and the fact it helps you to manage those 2 things is absolutely fantastic. So considering all of the other points we've talked about, including the bonuses and everything else, why is Rome such a good civ for new players? Well, because predominantly, Rome uses all these abilities in the early game. So basically, Rome is an early game civ. So what does this mean? Well, Rome is at its strongest compared to its opponents and many of the other civilizations in the game early on. So you have to make use of this. You have to get stuck into the game. You know, you can't sit back, you've got to go and attack people, you've got to build up, you've got to get really immersed into the game early on, which for me as a new player is just the best way to go about stuff. Players are going to need to be good in the early game if you're going to win games in the end. If you're going to get better and better at this game, you've got to lay the foundations of your civilization properly, and mastering the early game is a fantastic way to do this. Rome just encourages you to, like, go and be aggressive. It encourages you to start trade routes, found lots of cities early on, and for me that's important because to properly enjoy this game, you've just got to get stuck into it. You've got to be willing to lose battles, you've got to be willing to make mistakes, and for me Rome encourages that. Also, what I would say is that if you can't master the early game and actually enjoy the early game in Civilization 6, your whole experience of every part of the game is going to be damaged. If you can't build up your civilization early, you know, you're just going to hate it. The mid game's going to be horrible, the late game's going to drag. So I think Rome being an early game save and encouraging you to really get stuck in, like I said, is a massive part of what made me love playing this early on in my Civilization 6 career. Okay, so I had to seriously rack my brain for this video because it's been so long since I was a new player to Civilization 6. Like, I've owned this thing since the PC days, so, you know, I had to really go in my brain and think about it. But yeah, what did you think to this video? Do you think Rome's a good civilization for new players? And what civilization would you recommend for new players and why? Please do let me know down in the comments. I'm actually really interested to read these comments especially because I think it'll be really intriguing to see what other people think. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more videos on Civilization 6 on console, I think we're going to do a review and some ranking stuff in the next few weeks. Let me know. Also, if I don't speak to you before, have a great Christmas. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more, remember to hit the like button and subscribe, and go over and follow us on Twitter. Thank you for watching again, and I will see you in another video soon.